Section 3.1, Graphing Linear Equations. Essential question. How do you identify the x and y intercepts of a linear equation? The vocab word today for this lesson is standard form, which is an equation for a line, one way to write an equation for a line, and it's ax plus by equals c. I'm not going to go into any of the details on this formula until the next page where you'll see all the rules. So all I'm going to write for the vocab definition is ax plus by equals c. Alright, here are the rules for standard form. It's very important that you make sure you write down all of these rules in your notes. So what are the rules for writing an equation in standard form? Well, first of all, the equation ax plus by equals c has a very specific order. So both x and y have to be on the same side, and they have to be on the left-hand side. The next thing is a has to be a positive integer. So positive integers start with 0 and go up. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. B and C must be integers. So they don't have to be positive, but it still has to be in integers. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So this means that no fractions and no decimals are allowed in standard form. On the next slide, we're going to practice writing whether or not equations are in proper standard form. Alright, so are these equations written in standard form, yes or no, and why? Alright, so this first one, if I go through my rules, x and y are on the same side, they're on the left-hand side, so that part is right. Second is a has to be a positive integer. Well, this is my a, this is my b, this is my c. A is -15, which is not a positive integer, so my answer is no. And I'll say a is not a positive integer. Or I could say no, a is -15. That's what makes it not in standard form. Second one, 3x minus 2 equals 5y. So my first rule, again, is that x and y have to be on the same side and the left-hand side. Well, if you notice this one, 3x is on the left of the equal sign, 5y is on the right. So that is not in standard form. No, x and y aren't on the left side. (3x plus 5y equals -2). Well, x and y are on the left-hand side, so that one is right. 3 is a positive integer, so that one is good. B and C, so the 5 and the -2, are integers, so that one is right. And there aren't any fractions and decimals, so this one is yes. (-23 equals 4x plus 3y). So the first thing, are x and y on the same side and on the left side? Well, they're on the same side, but they're not on the left-hand side, so this is no. X and y aren't on the left side. (1/2 x plus 3y equals 7). X and y are on the left side, so that part is good. A is a positive integer. Nope, it's a fraction, and we can't have any fractions. So no, there is a fraction. And the last one, 6x minus 3y equals 11. X and y are on the left-hand side. 6 is a positive integer. Negative 3 and 11 are integers. And there's no fractions or decimals. So this one is yes. All right. Now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit and use the x and y intercepts to graph an equation that is in standard form. So 2x plus 5y equals 10. That is in standard form. I want to graph this equation. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to use the intercepts. So we're going to get 2 coordinate points in order to be able to graph this line. So I have a table already made for you with the 2 zeros. Now remember that if the intercepts always have a 0 in the coordinate point. So what we're going to do to get 2 dots to make a line for this graph is we're going to take 0. And since it's under the x column, we're going to plug it in for x. So 2 times 0 plus 5y equals 10. So 2 times 0 is 0. So I'm just going to cross that off. And then I'm left with 5y equals 10. And then to solve this, the opposite of 5 times y is dividing. So I'm left with y equals 2. So I've got a coordinate point now. I have the coordinate point 0, 2. I'm going to wait and find my other coordinate though before I graph. So now to find one more coordinate, because you need 2 coordinates in order to be able to graph a line. You can't graph a line with 1 coordinate. Now I'm going to take this 0, and since it's under the y column, I'm going to plug it in here for y. So 2x plus 5 times 0 equals 10. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. So I'll bring down my 2x, bring down my 10. In order to get x by itself, I have to divide both sides by 2, and I end up with x equals 5. So since it's x equals 5, I'll put that under the x column. Now I'm going to graph both of those points. So 0, 2 would be right here. 5, 0 would be right here. And now I can connect those dots with a line. Let's go back to our directions and make sure we did this correctly. So it says use the x and y intercepts. So that's what I did. I used these intercepts in order to graph the line. Now if I wanted to go a step further and name the x-intercept and the y-intercept, my x-intercept, so my line crosses the x-axis right here at positive 5, and my y-intercept, my line crosses the y-axis right here at 2. All right, let's try that again. Now we have another equation that's written in standard form. We're going to use the intercepts to graph the line. So I'm going to take 0 and plug it in for x to find my y coordinate. So 4 times 0 minus 2y equals negative 8. 4 times 0 is 0. So I bring down the negative 2y, bring down the negative 8. Divide both sides by negative 2. Remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So y equals 4. Then to find my other intercept, I'm going to take 0 and plug it in for y. So 4x minus 2 times 0 equals negative 8. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, so I bring down the 4 and the negative 8, divide both sides by 4, and I have x equals negative 2. So 0, 4, and negative 2, 0 are my 2 ordered pairs that can help me graph my line. 0, 4 would be right here, negative 2, 0 would be right here. Now if we identify our x and y intercepts, my x-intercept is right here, so negative 2. My y-intercept is right here. Which makes me think, did I flip these ones around? Nope, I was right on that one. Okay. All right, one more of these. So 3x minus y equals 6. So plug 0 in for x. 3 times 0 minus y equals 6. Now one thing that's going to make this problem a little easier, put a 1 in between the negative and the y so that we don't forget that our y is negative. It is going to make a difference with our answer. So 3 times 0 is 0. Bring down the negative 1 and the 6. So now we have to divide both sides by negative 1. So it's not going to be 6, it's going to be negative 6. So that's why we had to make sure that we know that our y is negative. So then if I plug 0 in for y, so negative 1 times 0, so that'll cancel. 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3, and we have x equals 2. So 0, negative 6, and 2, 0. So my x-intercept is 2, and my y-intercept is negative 6.